Oh, who's doing the intro? You want me to do it this time?
Yeah, it's you this week.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. We're back for another week. And I turned off the intro. I remembered this time. If you guys don't know what Answer the Call is, it's myself and Croncy's podcast where we did a little play on words from an old meme about Star Citizen, but it is a call-in show where we talk about Star Citizen. So essentially, we start the day off talking a little bit amongst ourselves, hopefully juicing up some topics for you guys to want to talk about with us. And then later on in the show, we go to callers and talk to you guys about things. I think the topic's pretty obvious this week. 323 went live. There's a couple other little interesting things within that. But I think the main thing that we'll be talking about today is 323, your expectations for it, and the reality that you experienced. I know, Croncy, you didn't get enough time in it just yet. But I think
Still lots to talk about with it, though.
Enough to
especially
talk
with,
about
implications and yeah.
So you want to start out with that? How is it
Yeah.
feeling so far for you?
Well, the first thing that I think is really important, we were talking last week about how we were really happy that they didn't push the patch on like the Friday, as they like typically have in the past, right?
Yeah, and then they did.
Then they did, but they waited a full week. They put in a bunch of patches. There was a bunch of times this past week where I was like, it's certainly coming out today. And then they were like, nah, we're just going to make sure this is fixed. And it's like, oh no, that is definitely coming out this day. No, actually, we'll just double check sure. And so even though it did release on a Friday, I was kind of like really excited to see what would happen when it goes live. Because if it was still trash, then that's really bad. But it seems that most people's experiences, and I'll say most people because my first 2 hours today were not great, but most people's experiences have been fantastic in comparison to other patch releases. As in like first couple day patch releases.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree. I think the expectation was this was going to be not 318, but not great. Yeah. And I thought, and you know what? My first day was actually a lot worse than my experience today. But like my first day, lots of interaction delay, lots of inventory delay, lots of delay with shops being weird. So I definitely ran into issues, but I think with the expectation of, I guess 318 and PTSD from 318, I think a lot of people expected things to be a lot worse, and our standards were so low that the patch is decent. It's not bad at all, but I think that I think our standards were so low that this was quite a pleasant surprise as well. Which
so like
nice.
318 we knew was not going to be great, but ended up being a lot worse than we thought. And that was almost entirely because of PES and everything that brought into the patch, right?
Yeah, or whatever third-party issue they had, or whatever they...
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Replication layer felt very much like the same boogeyman for like patch releases. And, you know, like as we got, like right at the start of the PTU, we were having server errors like every 20 minutes for 30 minutes. Yeah, the server error
like
recoveries and stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And then at the end of the PTU, almost non-existent, at least in my experience for the most part. And then even today in the 2 hours I played, did not see one. So any issues that have been caused, it seems like server replication layer, so the server error replication layer stuff feels like it might be okay and is working well. Have you been the same? Have you had any server errors in the last 2 days?
Zero.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah.
Zero.
So that's fantastic.
And
30Ks don't exist anymore, guys.
Oh, they do. I saw other people have them. But the thing that I think was the point that you made at the beginning was that they took the extra week on that Thursday when they said, hey, I think we really got this issue fixed. Everything went away and we're live. We're live. Like, this isn't the PTU, and it feels like a really good PTU in terms of like the lack of crashes and things like that. We have not had a good experience since 317 as far as like stability. I don't think we've had a patch that I would have considered stable for a long time.
Yeah.
I haven't
That's
had a
fair.
30K yet. The servers
Yeah.
do degrade and get better and whatever. I don't know how many players were
Mm,
on my server today. It started at 21. It ended at 15 when I got off.
mm.
The That's good, right?
Which might be normal
Yesterday,
just because you're on US times anyway.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yesterday it was at 4 though. So
Mm.
it depends. Maybe they're still hot fixing in the background. I don't know. But overall, I think the experience is significantly better than expected, and
Yeah.
that's a good thing. We
Mhm.
have not hit the fearful moment yet. That is the free fly, though. So there is still
Yeah.
opportunity to screw up all the goodwill that they just created, and they probably will.
Exactly. Yeah.
In that
Yeah.
case,
The
but
amount
yeah,
of server load, extra server load that happens when that like occurs is pretty crazy. But
yeah,
it's not dissimilar to like a day one patch, but it's just like that for like the entire free fly. So
exactly.
things could degrade over time, but we'll just have to wait and see. The big thing as well, a lot of the issues that are still in the patch seem to, at least patch notes wise, be fixed in the PTU that they've already started running, um, which we'll probably talk about in a little bit. But
Oh, we're gonna talk about it. I lost my mind
yeah,
today. I'm so annoyed.
in a good way or a bad way.
Bad way.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll rant a little. It'll be a
yeah,
very short rant, but I have a rant for sure.
sure. Um, but yeah, that's at least a good sign that like they probably already were on top of these fixes.
Mhm.
But the other thing that I noticed a lot today, which was really surprising, the other thing that always happens to me at the very start of a brand new patch is not just server performance, but like actual PC performance, just craters. Like I just have terrible everything. Not the case. I had better FPS today than I did in PTU, which
Were
was kind of
you?
insane.
A lot of people kept asking me this. Are you using
Hmm.
Vulkan or are you using DX11? I stick with DX11.
DX11.
Me too. I
Yeah.
don't feel like dealing with something that they have clearly communicated is not the stable choice,
Hmm.
and I will
Yep.
when it's stable. In PTU, I'll mess around with it for a day, whatever.
Yep.
But outside that, I haven't used DLSS. I haven't used FSR.
I have been using DLSS. That's improved stuff for me. But
Okay, yeah. So that maybe is where you're seeing your improvements and stuff as well.
yeah.
Anything stick out to you as like really, really good in terms of like, okay, I was having like I did not want to start the podcast today. I was having actual
Yeah.
fun in Star Citizen, and
Yep.
like I'll let you go first. But does anything
Mhm.
stick out from your PTU experiences, which obviously it was rough to deal with
Yeah,
until
yeah.
they got those fixes down? From then until now, is there anything that, because again you didn't get much time in there, but did anything stick out?
Yeah. Yeah, so like combination of like, the last couple of days of PTU and what I got to play today. The fauna started to be actually like really, really cool to interact with.
Okay.
Because the AI worked.
Yep.
Sometimes that's as much as we need.
Yeah.
They were still doing the weird teleporting thing, which Zach said on Twitter is apparently in relation to how they like do their pathing. So it's actually not like a weird. It's nothing to do with desync. It's like some bug that they're trying to fix.
Okay. That's
Um,
cool.
yeah, but so they were cool. Them actually reacting and actually attacking you was awesome to see. So I loved the fauna. Um, that was probably the biggest thing, honestly. Like I've been loving the distribution centers, and I will continue to love them. Unfortunately, we had a rep wipe with this patch as well.
That's what I was
So
working towards.
in order to get the fun DC missions, I'm gonna have to grind a little bit of rep, which I kind of wanted to do. So I'm
Ooh,
kind of happy the rep got wiped in that
ooh.
aspect.
I will switch scenes because let's stop
Yep.
there. I noticed something
Hmm.
very good. It's gonna be really hard for me to find, but I'm gonna do my best because there's a very tiny little short part of my stream that is still going on now. So I have to actually
Hmm.
view what we're broadcasting at the moment, and I have to try and find the best way to do it. I think going into the highlight screen will
Sure.
do that for me. All right. The rep window has
Yeah.
some interesting little bits of fun in there. It's so subtle, it's so small, but they
Hmm.
show the percentage of your rep.
Yeah, instead of just the bar and stuff.
Yeah. And so what happened to me today was I did have a bugged mission,
Hmm.
and this is going to be really hard. The stream is so. Oh, I found it. Okay.
Yep.
I had a bugged mission right after this. So after this,
Okay.
I was at 5.6%, and I think I went up to
Mhm.
I don't know what I was at, but I ended up. Oh, this is 5.0, and then every uh, basic mission that I finished, it goes up 2.5%. I had to
Yep.
fail a mission because it didn't work. It didn't spawn 2 characters for me to kill.
Yep.
Mission failed. Classic Star Citizen. I walked away, and the mission from 7.5%, or the rep went from 7.5% to 6.5%.
Yep.
So
Important to remember that that's the affinity, not the reputation. But yes.
yeah, regardless, I'm
Yep.
not sure. Actually, I mean, maybe I should scroll a little bit and try and find it. But it visualized for me that
hmm
that wasn't so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, go again.
Yeah.
You're gonna be okay, kind of thing.
hmm
Yeah. Here's where I think it failed. Potentially, I don't know. I'm not sure, but regardless,
Oh.
I thought that was really good. Just putting that number there on the update to the like Moby Glass update for me, that was a big like icing on the cake. Yeah, we got a star
Yep.
map. Like just being able to show that like okay, something bad happened to me, but I know what it did exactly. They communicated to
Yep.
me. Like that's one thing that their UIs have done so poorly over the years, and that is something that
hmm
just doesn't. Like, thank you
Yep.
for that. Like it's so simple. It's something so small. They already have those numbers in anyway. Just
Yeah.
communicating to them to us, I think, is big. And yeah, I just immediately was like, oh, losing that mission wasn't so bad, and went right back to it.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
I loved that.
Definitely feels like a continuation of like the the quality of life stuff that we've been talking about for a year now, pretty much.
Exactly.
Yep.
I wish I could see what happened to the affinity, but yeah, I didn't even
Yeah. Yeah.
realize that. But regardless, I
No.
think rep will be significantly more important than affinity at some point. So
Well, yeah, because affinity just affects how much rep you get. The
exactly.
higher affinity, the more rep. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Minor thing,
That's I think I
but
didn't
awesome.
realize. Yeah.
Yeah, I just found it out today, so
Um,
it excited me.
yeah. But yeah, that's sort of what I'm mentioning. Like, yeah, the wipe happened.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, what do you feel about that for the first 2 days? Obviously, I imagine a lot of it was just like, hey, let's play the new content. But like, they've
Yeah.
been doing the economy changes. Have you felt that anything has felt very different? Because
Salvage
but once again,
is
only 2 hours for me, but I haven't felt very
horrible.
different. Yeah.
Salvage is horrible. So they did a lot of changes to the buy-ins for salvage. They essentially doubled
Yep.
the buy-ins. So when you double the buy-ins, what happens? But you didn't double the reward.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did 121K in buy-ins,
Mm-hmm.
and I only sold the RMC. There was
Yep.
no containers worth grabbing. I did not loot components or
Mm-hmm.
weapons. So I imagine if you did everything, it wouldn't be as
Yep.
bad. 121,000 in buy-ins, 146,000 in RMC, and I cleared them.
Yep. Yep.
I made 25,000 credits for 3 missions.
Yeah.
Like a lot of that is RMC scraping. That was a lot of time.
Yep.
But
Is it possible? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
but sorry,
Yeah.
because I don't know if you did any salvage yet.
No, I haven't. I've
They
not,
there were 0 salvage missions, actual like regular basic salvage missions that had
Mhm.
large ships in them. So the old
Yeah.
C2s that you would or A2s or whatever you would be salvaging,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Those are they don't exist. So the 100K missions are like vanguards. That's where you're salvaging. So you're buying
Right.
at 100K and doing vanguards. It's crazy. But then Wake of Disaster showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Wake of Disaster showed, and we had an A2 with drugs, nothing too crazy. We
Yeah.
had it was just ultratoxin or whatever it's called, so
Sure.
low value drugs, but still there.
Still
We had
something. Yep.
a hammerhead that was had nothing really in it. It was like food,
Mm-hmm.
and a carrick that had nothing in it, like actually nothing. We brought the org, cleared everything, construction materials. We did everything.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like 5 million credits. So 200K
Okay.
buy-in,
For about
5
how
million,
long?
couple hours.
Okay.
So I think the thing that no one showed up either, so we weren't fighting over it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
200K buy-in, 5 million credits versus 100K buy-in, 120K credits, right? So like,
Yeah.
I think what they're trying to do is push people towards Wake.
Yeah. Or I was gonna say, or push them towards like natural salvage, maybe. So it's like
Salvaging
if
bounties,
you,
still
yeah,
good.
it's
Yeah.
like if you want to, you can guarantee find a wreck, but you're not going to make as much money.
Yep.
But
It's too
if you
simple.
want to squeeze it, then you can do these other ones.
Exactly. They're
And
too
I think that would
simple.
be fine. But based on what you said, that's still like it should still come down a bit. It shouldn't be that like maybe like 50K to make 125K or something. But
It just
yeah,
depends. It's such a weird thing because you got bunker missions at distribution centers that are offering, like we saw it in the PTU. I don't know if they're still there. 136K, whatever, right?
yeah, they're
Um,
still there. They're just the really high rep ones.
yeah, but like when
Yep.
they say that, like, all right, we've looked at how much time you have to dedicate to things, and that was one of the
Mhm.
ways that we decided rewards, brother. RMC is the most time consuming thing there is. So
Yep.
it's all, but they also put the value of RMC at super high. So it's like the salvage
Mm,
missions have never quite made sense to me. And this is kind of solidifying those feelings. It's
yeah.
weird. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's fair enough.
maybe one
What
day if
about
they
just like
tie rep.
regular missions?
My first
Other than rep thing.
my
Yeah.
first day doing regular missions was today. Like
Okay.
I went through and tried to get the salvage rep, and then Wake popped up, and it was like, all right, let's get the boys together and do it, and that's all
Yep.
we did. And then I stopped for the day after that. I was actually supposed to meet with my org leader yesterday, and I totally forgot. I just realized it now. Meatly, if you're here, I literally forgot about you. I'm sorry yesterday, but the only thing I did was bunkers today. Tried and gain bunker
Mhm.
rep. I did a cave mission
Yep.
for the dogs. That was kind of rough.
Okay.
And that was it. So like I have not done that much yet.
Yeah. One thing I noticed on the like last couple of days of PTU, so like keep that in mind because we're in live now,
Hmm.
is if you did want to, you could go to one of the like quote unquote neutral distribution centers. So these are the ones that have like if you're got like crime stat, they won't shoot you and stuff. Um, so like I think the Sakura Sun ones are an example.
Okay.
If you can essentially live there and just do missions there, and they'll pretty much constantly respawn over like by the time that it takes you to do the mission. So you can go back to back to back to back to back
Once you have the rep.
without having to leave. So
Once you have the rep,
there is
right?
an element there of like grinding for money. Say again, sorry.
Once you have the rep, right?
Yeah, but you only need like level one, like to unlock the first mercenary missions
Cool.
there, and
Cool.
then you'll get more later. But
Sure.
um, it's interesting. And once again, the reason why I say keep in mind that that was PTU is because you may not have the chance as everyone will be trying to do those missions, so you may not be able to grab them every time. But it's a different dynamic to what we've had before, where if you want to grind, you do still have to spend all of that time quantum traveling around. So
Mm. Unless you can get the same mission over and over again, or the same location over and over again.
yeah, and because there are usually so many missions at those locations, like there's usually like 4 or 5 at a time. Now
Yeah.
they'll be split between like mercenary and like investigation and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like I said, by the time that you end up finishing all of them, one of them pops back up, sort of thing,
Yeah.
and so you can kind of daisy chain them
Okay.
as long as the servers are playing nice as well.
Yeah. Oh, just a reminder, if you guys are looking to get in the calls, I'll take a peek and see how many.
Mhm.
Oh, there's 2 more. I think that's probably good. 5 is or 4 or 5 is a lot. So I was gonna remind people to hop in, but I think we got a pretty good call list. So
Yeah.
I don't know what I would be kind of asking you guys if you want to start thinking about what you want to talk about would be the like, yeah, how have your experiences been? Have they met your expectations? Have they exceeded your expectations? Right, both of these patches, I guess. Um, and yeah,
I'll leave one question to you guys as well for everyone that calls. Is the quality of this release patch, is that indicative, and this is going to be prediction, but is that indicative of better testing from CIG in one way or the other, or did we just get lucky? I want to know what people think.
Yeah. Did you check
Yeah.
your overdrive rep? I think that's probably a fun thing to
I didn't
talk
check
about now.
so I had never completed the last mission because they said, because of all the bugs, we're going to let you do that in 323.
Yeah.
So then 323 came out, and I can't complete the mission.
Why?
The boxes didn't spawn. The actual boxes didn't
Oh,
spawn. So I'm
that's the
gonna
only
try.
bugged mission.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you say that all my missions were bugged today, but
no, the bugged
yeah.
overdrive one. That was like one of the bad ones.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. All the other overdrives were simple to do. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping I can do that one within the next day or two. Um, because I didn't even get to check to see if the actual hand-in was working at all because just the boxes weren't there. So there's
Yeah.
lots of potential issues there. As servers maybe get a little less beaten up, maybe I'll
Yeah.
be able to do it.
I
But
wanted
yeah,
to
they
bring this
showed
up. I thought
this.
this was
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Where they you type in like you go to the tilde key or whatever, and then you start typing mission, and you just hit tab,
Mhm.
and it'll let you know the status of like all the missions that you've done. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Not just Xenothreat ones, like all of them.
Yeah.
And so it lets you know kind of where you stand. I have I've completed it. I have the mission at the end. I've not taken it yet. The basically
Mhm.
CIG is recommending if you want to use, this is my favorite thing, and it's still laughable, is do not accept the mission to give you the F7A Mark II
Yeah.
because it automatically gives it to you right away, and you only get it for 7 days. And if you want to use it at Xenothreat, you should wait. But when is Xenothreat coming? They are kind of like being very coy about it. And
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but anybody who played the PTU with Xenothreat saw how bad it was. And then one thing that you might have noticed is they didn't test it leading up to live at all.
Yeah.
So if they didn't test it
You know,
leading up to live,
yeah.
there's something wrong with it. And you're not going to see this thing in the .1. No chance.
Well, you might see it in .1 in like a month.
I mean, you think .2 is going to be a month later? Yeah, they said it'll come after Invictus launch week. So from
Yeah.
now until the end of time is what that means, okay? It can happen at any time. So they're leaving that door open completely.
Xenothreat coming next year.
Yeah. So it can be at any time.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty far away, given how bad it was for the servers. And I think that they're prioritizing, obviously, for Invictus launch week, the servers. So it's not going to come in .1. It might come in .2, but then they have all the other issues they have to deal with the instability of adding the cargo stuff back in. What are the problems with that? So I think it's going to come way later.
4.0.
Yeah, honestly, yes. We can make a bet, character bet then, like what you think. If you want to get me on one, this could be one you can get me on.
I'll use that thing that someone found on Reddit where you can turn people's characters like blue.
Yeah, dude, I saw a multicolored character just run past me the other day. And I was like,
it's so sick. I'm so mad that it's definitely gonna get patched, but
of course,
I love it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm not necessarily as doom and gloom as that, but it's certainly not going to be within the next month. They have done dynamic events before where they've done like a little, PTU just to make sure it works right, chuck in a quick fix into like the current live patch and then run it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's certainly going to be like a month from now, minimum.
And you're going to know because they're going to PTU it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You're going to know in advance because, and I think the fact that they did not PTU it leading up to 323.1 PTU and it's not in there now. I don't expect to see it.
Yeah, it was pretty much they tested it for like 3 days and then that was it. They stopped.
Yeah,
like
they haven't tested it with the really great servers that we're dealing with now. So I'm curious what it is, but maybe because 323.1 is in PTU, maybe we'll see some changes there. I guess. Do you want to get into that?
Yeah.
Did you take the time to check it out at all today?
No, as I said just before the pod, I'm downloading it now. I have downloaded the patch right now, so I can play it after the pod. Because I want to check out some stuff. Because namely, while it is the Invictus patch, this is, like Invictus is not in it yet.
Correct.
Which I believe means the Polaris isn't in there yet, flying around, but should be in the next couple of days, maybe.
I was saying apparently it is, but I was unable to see it.
I think it's in the game files, so I think we've seen some like data mining about it, but I don't think we've actually seen it yet.
Gotcha.
But what is is the base Retaliator Gold Pass, Gold Standard, whatever it's called,
Hmm.
and the Saber Raven Gold Pass apparently as well, which is combo of
Very
this patch
telling.
as well as like something else that we want to talk about. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, it made sense that they started immediately. We'd been talking about the entire time. They will release the patch and then pretty much immediately start testing this because this is in what 4 days, 5 days. This Invictus. Um, so yeah, they
It's
needed to start
soon.
testing it quickly. Yeah, it doesn't need as much test as a major patch does because the halls have existed since the beginning of time. Um, so most of it is just stability testing, new ship testing, just making sure the halls will cycle through correctly, and then anything that's combined with it. Which this year is the Polaris driving around. So I imagine we'll see that in PTU.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to check out the Retaliator, I was able to rent the base version in Arena Commander. I do not own a Retaliator, so I do not have any of the
Mhm.
modules. Apparently, the modularity is working, all that stuff. I can't see that because you got to pay
Yep.
up to see it, and I'm not paying up for those things. But the like, I want to get it in game or whatever, right? But
Oh yeah, for sure.
there's fuse panels on it.
Hmm.
It's got all the improvements that they kind of were saying would be there. So like the better docking
Yep.
collar, it feels more spacious, things like that. And obviously there's this we like what I'm looking at now. We think is like where the engineering panel is going to be,
Hmm.
and from like I was looking at component access and all that stuff and just making sure everything was
Yep.
working. The only other thing is that room. I'm trying to get to the room again. This is me having to pause and like
Yeah,
go
all
through
good.
a stream. It's not easy, but yeah, there's your like bigger docking color. I think it was small before,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah.
or it was like up and
Well, we
down. Now
never
it's
had.
on the
Yeah, we
side.
never had side ones. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the room is I'm in it now. It's just empty. So this is not a cargo
Yep.
bay or anything. This is the base. This is like okay, I
This
want
is
the
the
ship
no
and
modules.
I want to buy the modules in game later. I think that's kind of
Hmm.
cool actually to be honest. Like build up the ship together with your friends. But yeah, I mean that's what I saw from it. It's
Hmm.
nothing too crazy, but it,
Yeah,
it's there. Cool. That's kind of
yeah.
what.
Testing out the modularity will be an important thing. Because I do want to see like what the torpedo bays and stuff look like it in a gold standard.
For
Um,
sure.
yeah, but it's one that I'm excited for because we've talked about before. I absolutely love the Retaliator. I think it's one of the most fun ships in the game when you get a full crew to it. So it's good to see it get some love and actually also work more into the standard of the game right now. And the
Mm,
fact that it has the fuse boxes means, they talked about how they are preparing 10 ships for engineering. So obviously this is one of them.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, that knocks it down to 9. We know that list. You
Hmm.
want to talk? You want to talk about this thing?
Yeah, the Firebird.
Yeah, it's definitely the
Um,
Firebird. That's the name because you
yeah.
had every developer who never posts on Twitter about Star Citizen ever. All of a sudden, when it's a ship, it's like the machine turns on. It's so funny.
Yeah, yeah.
I laugh every time when that stuff happens. But I
What
I'm
do
very.
you think it is? It's a Saber Raven like alt, like
What do I think
a
it is, or
variant.
what do
But
I
what do you
want
think
it
it
to
is?
be?
Both.
I'll start with what I want it to be. I want it to be a clone of the Saber Raven that they can both sell to players on the store, and not a
Hmm.
clone. They could change it slightly, but I want
Yeah,
it
yep.
to fit the exact same role that the Raven played.
Okay.
That gets past the contracts that they signed with Intel
Hmm.
and allows them to resell a ship that already existed to players so they can earn them in game. There's no ships that should not be earnable in game. The Mustang
Yep.
Omega is the Mustang Gamma with a different paint. It's just a
Yep.
paint skin. There are things that you should be able to earn that are exclusive, like paint skins. There are not things that should be exclusive, like entire ships. That's
Yep.
ridiculous.
Yep.
So that's what I want this to be. What do I think
Hmm.
it's going to be? Probably another QED ship or something.
Hmm.
It sounds like they might do something else, but I
Okay.
don't know. So what I
It
want
definitely
it to be
sounds.
is different.
It definitely sounds like most likely. Well, I say sounds. We've seen this image and a fire emote and a bird emote.
Yeah.
Um, but it definitely looks like it's probably going to be QED. I want it to be a racer that in the same league as the 350R. And now
Oh, so many
every
people
time
are
I've said
saying
that,
that. Yeah.
well, every time I say that, everyone's like, "Oh, but it's Invictus. They won't do a racing ship." I said that I don't know if it was last year or the year before, and I was saying the same thing, and then they released a racing ship at Invictus.
I mean,
It
the
might have been a
Pulse,
variant, though. To be fair,
right? Pulse
the
is being
Pulse isn't
released.
technically Invictus, though. We'll see what happens. They may do like I can't remember what the ship was last year, but there was a ship that like came out with the patch, but then was released at Invictus at a IAE.
Mm.
They might do the same thing there, but yeah, it's probably going to be a QED, which sure. I mean, we only have 3 ships with QEDs at the moment, right?
Well, and you only have one that can pull players out of Quantum, I believe, right? Or two? Is the blue? Can
Yeah,
they pull the people out?
I think the blue can, but the Antares can, right?
The Antares, I think, just has the. I'm so bad with this. I never use these ships.
Yes.
I'll wait for chat to catch up and let me know because I just this is not an aspect of the game that I play.
Yeah.
It's the aspect of the game that I want to play if it's ever different. Only the
I'll
Mantis
let
has the
someone else.
snare, is what
Okay,
somebody's
yeah.
saying, and that's
Okay.
what I thought, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah.
Everything else is the tackle mechanic.
Just the keep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, that's almost certainly probably what it will be because it
I
also
hate
sort
that
of
though.
works. Yeah, it's kind of sucky, but it makes sense
We need
because
more.
you've got here's the EMP one. But I would also prefer it to be like what you said, where it is essentially a functional redo of just the regular Raven.
Yeah.
Um, in fact, they could even do like here is the Firebird. You can swap out a QED or an EMP, right?
That would be actually a way better situation. Is if it
Yeah.
was more modular and I had the choice. And then you
Yeah.
can kind of customize your ship into your play style in that case. I would
Yeah.
much prefer that if that was the route. Whatever it is, I just would much rather it be that it's the only ship like that. It just shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be
Yeah,
a thing.
you cannot have functionally different ships hidden behind like
Paywalls.
super paywalls, not even a regular paywall.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Like you can't get this thing
it's
anymore.
bad.
Exclusivity is cool, and whoever has
Yeah,
the blue one is still gonna have that exclusivity. You're still gonna
yeah, it's still
have it.
cool. Yeah,
It's still cool. It's still rare. It's still the only way to get that, and it won't sell for 1,500 on whatever anymore on
yeah.
wherever you're getting it. But what it will be is still a collector item, and it will still be worth much more than you paid for it initially, or whoever did. But yeah, like having to buy a hard drive that doesn't exist anymore to be the only way to get it is insanely stupid.
Yeah.
And I've never been more happy to see a ship sale in my entire life than this one, because this is something
Yeah.
that needs to be done. And
If that's what we get.
if that's what, yeah, and I will be very bummed out if it's not. I'll say that.
I wouldn't get my hopes up for it for sure.
Yeah.
But I am happy at the very least we're getting another ship that's like that shape, like that
Correct.
that
It's
hull
so cool
we have for
looking.
the Raven. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very nice looking.
Yeah. And
Should we talk a little bit? Yeah, go
just
ahead.
to button it up real quick, I'm not hoping for this. I don't hope anymore. I have none. All my hope is gone. But it's just do the right thing, and that's the right.
Yeah.
That is the right thing to do. So if you see me get upset when they don't do the right thing, it's because I get upset when people don't do the right thing, and that's it. And yeah, so. But
yeah, should we talk about ISC? It was a small one, but had a nice little sneak peek in there. So it was, as we go with features, like creatures are a big feature in 323, just because we haven't had them before. But there's not a lot to it necessarily, but we get to speculate about a lot of things because of the ISC. So we got to hear a bit about, where they came up with the ideas for the Copians and the Maroks, and kind of how they wanted the gameplay to work a little bit with them, and just add depth to the game.
Yeah, you mentioned crafting.
Yeah, they mentioned crafting with all of the the gullet balls from the Maroks and the horns from the
Marok
Copians.
Pearl.
Yeah. Why call it a pearl? It's disgusting.
Yeah.
I realized you can see it when they like open their mouths. You can see it.
Yeah,
it's like fully just in their mouth. Yeah,
it's super gross.
So they talked a little bit about that. It was awesome. I didn't realize the Maroks were Boyds, which is interesting. I thought Boyds were going to be even less complex than this. I thought they were essentially just going to be like little lines in the sky or like little lines in the water for just like really, really simple AI.
Like at
I kind of am
Hurston,
happy
right?
that it's a bit more advanced.
Like the vehicles at Hurston kind of moving around.
Sort of, yeah. Or more like, you'll play like any other video game, and like a like random bird in the sky or like a bunch of birds in the sky would literally just be paint lines. Just
Mm,
like bam bam and that's it and they fly and whatever. I thought that's what Boyd's was going to be kind of like. I like that they're a bit more advanced than that. That's cool. That's
yeah.
dope. They don't seem to like tax your graphics card too much to make it rough, so that was kind of cool. But then they did two things. One was a little sneak peek of some
Show it.
FPS stuff. So in a moment you'll see that like they go into a cave. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's bright. That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, you could see the darkness on the right and left side,
Yeah.
and that it is enhanced.
Yeah. What is it? Enhanced visual
Enhanced
something?
light enhancement, something
Light
like that.
enhanced. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, night vision may be coming. May be coming. But it certainly looks like it's something they want to do. So
Love it.
sweet. Hell yeah. That
Light
could be
amplification, Zach
yeah.
says in chat. There you go. That's what it's called.
So obviously big implications for FPS specifically here with the snapper.
Mhm.
But I also wouldn't be surprised if this means they can apply that tech to ships if they wanted to.
They said it's
Which
a
is a
bit
different
different,
question.
but it's
Okay.
it's something that they want to do or something. They had mentioned it on SCL last week
Okay. Okay.
that it is different, but
hmm
it's more of a Zach's here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's more of like a time thing than it is a tech thing now. I think that was sort of the
So it's like one of
response they
those
made.
like we will do this, but
Yeah,
the when is in
it's
question.
just about prioritizing it, whether or
Right.
not. Text inside the scope uses a shader on the material. Okay, yeah, he's getting like more detailed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
So I
But
don't know
yeah,
what
very
that
cool.
means for
So
your
hopefully,
helmet or whatever.
yeah, hopefully we'll see that soon. It did make me think as well. It'd be really dope if like we always talk about like let's have like rare items or modifications that you can loot or get with rep or anything like that.
Hmm.
A night vision scope would 100% be like a super sick thing to have as a rep reward or like super super rare loot reward. Um, and I would love them to implement it that way because yeah, I think that'd be dope. So
Yeah, and then Zach just touches on the tech inside the scope uses a shader on the material that doesn't
mhm.
exist on ships, and it's not the case of slapping that
Okay,
material on. So it's more complicated. So instead of it being
yeah,
a
yeah,
time thing, it's more complicated. I just couldn't remember if it was one or the other,
yeah,
and
yeah.
there's our answer for that.
Fair
So
enough.
that's why you don't see it on the ships yet. And
Yeah.
Zach was also pretty based on Spectrum. Some guy was like, I don't like the way the color or something like that. And different manufacturers will have different colors. Zach like
hmm
literally listed the exact hex code of the color and stuff like, oh, so you don't like this color, and just kind of shit
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the guy, which I thought was kind of funny. What other thing?
Um, But the other thing in ISC as well was just like what's coming next for creatures, and they essentially explicitly said cows and whales, cows and space whales are coming next. When next is a different situation, but that's like where the creature looking is coming next. So, someone made a point in my chat that was kind of interesting, which is the whales may be Boyds as well because they may just have really really basic AI. They don't really have to land anywhere. I imagine they're not going to be combative rather. Whereas the cows are probably going to be more complex because they have to use the navigation mesh.
And you have to loot them and stuff.
Yeah,
Like a little bit more. It was a little more complicated. But what they said on ISC, it was like, how are we going to do this?
yeah.
The whales need to have something to loot off of them though. That was like the big thing about the whales is that people
Different whales. Different whales. People can there's like the
really
old concept space whales. Yeah, there's the old concept space whales, which are literally in space and are supposed to be enormous. And for reference, this is really old concepting, like truly old concepting. The
oh.
the Crusader whales, they're not called whales, they're called something else. Space whales or something, I don't remember. They are much, much smaller. And we saw that during CitizenCon. They were essentially a little bit bigger than
The
storm
MSR.
whales. Thank you. Yeah, they were like a little bit bigger than an MSR. And so I imagine that that's a completely different thing. Like if they still do you are like mining a space whale, that'll be different. You can't land on these guys, right? Or maybe, well, people will, but that's not likely the intention. And in fact, I don't even know how you would loot these guys, because
I mean, I think
if you
the
killed them, they would just
concept
fall,
was no, it
right?
wasn't killing them. It was you would land on them and then
Yeah, that's
well
the space
the
ones
space
that are
ones, yeah.
supposed to be like, yeah, like asteroid sized, essentially.
Yeah, think like the big turtle in Valheim. You kind of land on it and
Yeah,
extract some shit from it and then leave.
yeah.
Um,
At the same
yeah,
time, maybe we can land on these ones, and maybe they've got just some like, plant gatherable items and whatnot.
yeah.
Um,
Or you just
but
tractor
yeah,
stuff off of them or something, right? Fly next to them, tractor the
yeah,
stuff
maybe.
off. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be sick.
That'd be kind of
You've got
cool,
to
right?
like, you've got to maintain speed with the whale as you try to grab some of the stuff.
Yep.
Where's Elliot? Let's get Elliot on this. Yeah. So yeah, that's where we're at with creatures. No mention of the pyro crab,
Yeah.
although what was mentioned for pyro, I think it was in the actual 323 is here. Here's all the features. Somewhere in there, they specifically mention it's like this gets you everything you need to do, blah blah blah, on your next patch when you leave the system.
Oh yeah, that was in the 323 patch notes, right?
Not the patch notes, but like like the summary of.
Oh, on the main part of the website that was
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
sort
yeah,
of the patch notes. Damn, I was
yeah, yeah.
looking for that. Somebody finally said it. I'll take a look
The
at
overview.
that
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so soft confirmation, not that we had really thought otherwise, but soft confirmation that 323 would be the last major patch before 4.0.
Yeah, I think we're
Um,
gonna get
yeah,
some dots with this one, but
we're getting
outside of
some
that,
dots. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's cool. All right, well, I'll just grab that and hold it for myself, actually, because
Hmm.
we've discussed it. But yeah, I'll use that for like week in review because I was looking for it and I was like, where is this mention of 4.0 everyone is talking about? I thought
Yeah.
they were saying it in the patch notes. Outside of that, I don't
Yeah.
see too much. I mean, the pulse, I don't know. We kind of talked about it
Yeah,
last week.
I
But
got to race the pulse today. We hopped into some grav racing, which like the grav racing is a little bit bugged in terms of leaderboards and stuff, but it is working. You can go and do racing, which I'm hoping also means that it's now a permanent mode. Please. Um,
please.
Hopped into the pulse. It's very fast. It seems it's very small, which is genuinely a bonus for it, especially if you're in a race condition. You're less likely to crash into things. Um, the other big thing that it has is that like it feels like I would have to actually double check, but its lowest ride height feels higher than other gravs. I would have to actually compare though, but it feels like it's a lot bigger. The big downside to it, other than like the 5 meters a second slower at lowest ride height than it is versus the Nox Q, um, is it turns real weird. It has really weird traction compared to other ones.
Oh
Now, it might be
no.
the kind of thing where it's like you can learn it and then it'll be fine. But going
Maybe.
from the Nox to the Pulse was super strange. I didn't love turning in it. Um, but it sounds dope. It's very
Yikes, because
fast,
that's what I love about the
really
Nox.
small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the
Yeah, the
turning.
Nox is dope to turn. So, um, but yeah, we were also theorizing, because it does also have a faster top speed at highest ride height, like when it's at its slowest. It may be one of the better gravlevs now for any dangerous race, whether that's DMR Rally,
Outside of
whether
Toledo. Yeah.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. So I think it'll still see some use, but yeah, it just turns weird, just turns strange. So maybe we'll learn it and we'll see what happens.
Okay. Um yeah, I don't really have anything else that's sticking out to me off the top of my head right now.
I'll
Man,
say because we have Invictus starting this week, and because we'll be talking about stuff next week from Invictus. What's your prediction for things that aren't confirmed for Invictus? What do you think we're going to see
I mean, do you consider the
next
medical
2 weeks?
Ursa and the MPUV not
Those are
confirmed?
confirmed. Those are
Yeah,
confirmed.
those are
Surely.
obviously confirmed.
Yeah.
Th-
Like
Honestly,
there will almost certainly be a concept,
I
and based on
Yeah.
monthly reports, it sounds like they may have enough things in the backlog that are finished that they could release, maybe. But certainly, we'll probably get a concept. So, what do you think we're going to see, if anything?
Oof. Concepts are so hard now because their concepts are always this is better than everything in its class. It does 14 different things, right?
Yep.
And it's not going to make it into 1.0. Basically, is like the feel for some of the concepts now. If they're trying
I
to
will
push,
almost every Invictus concept has come out within a year in the last like
that's
4 or 5 years.
yeah, that's a good point.
So
Interesting. Will it be another racer? Probably not.
probably
I
not. No.
see somebody in chat that Mirai Heavy Fighter, like the bigger version of the
Mm,
Fury that we've seen. That's
that's a
would
solid guess. I feel because we
would
were
it be a
talking as well. Like
concept
that
though?
maybe not a concept, but as a, like a either concept or surprise release, it could hold some weight
Hmm.
because it's in like that. We were talking last week about like what would be a good price point that they would do that they haven't done in a little bit, and like around that 150, with the exception of like the F8 F7 Mark II, around like the 120 to 150, which is like light to medium fighter sort of range. Kind of makes sense.
Hmm. They sneak peeked a cockpit that I think a lot of people thought was the Apollo, and now it seems like it was the like parasite, not the parasite ship, the mosquito looking ship a while
Mm,
ago. That they're obviously working on it, but I can't tell how. I think that's just in gray box, so I don't think that's going to make it into Invictus. Invictus.
yeah.
I don't know. And the concepts don't necessarily have to be military. Will it be another ground thing because it's easy, or will they be like money's been tight because it has been if you look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Do they literally just draw a capital concept and be like, this is a crafting, it's a space station building ship, and then they're like 3,000, boom, let's make 5 million, done, like 10 million or whatever. uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's that's a direction they can go. I'm gonna play
If
that
they
card.
did, if they did specifically what you just said, I don't think they'd do that in Invictus. I think they'd do that at IAE.
Yeah,
I think they'd be much more likely this year to either do
like
like
another carrier.
multiple. Even a carrier, I still think would be probably more like IAE. Like all of the capitals, pretty much regardless, or even like the closer capitals, like
Mhm.
the Perseus and stuff, uh, are almost always at IAE. And I imagine that's because it's probably just a life thing of people tend to have more money around that time of the year.
Yeah.
Um, I reckon what we're going to see is a medium fighter of some variety, whether it's the Mirai one or a different one, probably in concept. And I think we're going to get one more surprise straight to drivable slash flyable, other than the Argo, the Nursa, other than those two. So
Yeah, that are
that's
obvious.
where I'm at. Because also, this would be a really terrible Invictus if the only new things were the Nursa and the Argo. Like,
But they'll sell.
you know what I mean? They'll
Like,
sell, but like that would be such a like
I'm getting that ground vehicle for
anti-hype
sure.
moment. Like, oh my god, it's Invictus time. Let's go do some
Yeah,
Argoing.
yeah, that's fair. I feel like they're gonna do a capital because I feel like their actions lately have
Mhm.
been make money however possible. They've been a little desperate, and I think they might do something desperate. And the most desperate thing to do would be to draw a picture of a capital ship that they are not going to be able to deliver by the time the game releases into 1.0, and have no
True.
intentions to. And I don't think that
Uh,
they would say it. That would be my guess. Because
I
how?
I would fight you on the like the actions recently saying they'll make money however possible. The way that they have been trying to make money recently has been dodgy,
Yes.
but
That's all I'm saying.
in other years, but in other years that was fixed by them releasing multiple concepts on multiple ships early in the year, and we haven't had that this year.
What do you mean?
So I need like a list of all the ships. The Expanse was
A concept, obviously.
a concept that was in like February. so super early in the year. We
Oh,
haven't
are
had
you
anything like
saying?
that.
So you're
The
saying that the
Cyclone,
reason the money's down is they have not sold much.
yes,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah. Which
It's not.
doesn't necessarily negate what you said. It's just I don't think that like the reason would just be, oh crap, we haven't made much money. Oh god, let's do the thing that we just did.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
but
the
yeah,
Galaxy. The Galaxy is the dedicated one, but the Expanse can
yeah,
refine. So
yeah. The Expanse is the like single
the
seater
modular, like
individual one.
it's going to be the one that we're gonna build modularity with. Remember that one?
What with the Expanse? Do you
they
mean the Endeavor?
no, they. I'm the
Yeah, the
Galaxy. Oh no,
Galaxy is
I'm
modular.
yeah.
The
I think I'm
Expanse was
confusing them
the
then. I think
yeah,
Chat's
yeah.
right.
The
I'm
Expanse was
confusing
the
them.
single seater with I think it has like 8 or 6 like mini refineries in it,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
small
yeah, yeah,
refineries.
yeah.
But yeah,
I got
that was
confused.
like a February concept that like came out of nowhere.
Gotcha.
I also think that was like 2 years ago, but it's always the one that I remember because it was just like, oh hey, there's like no major patch right now, and they're doing this concept.
It's one of the only
Um,
concept ships I wanted so bad, and
mm.
I didn't buy it. I
I had it for
held
a
the
little bit. I
line,
think I melted it. Yeah.
dude. I barely have anything except for referral stuff now on my account, and I can't get rid of the referral things. It's really annoying, and I know that sounds like a first world problem, and it
It's
absolutely is. But
it's
it's
called I will take your login details.
no, they're all, dude. They're just dragonflies.
Yeah, that's all I need.
Okay. Yeah, all I have is dragonflies. Like I just have the one referral. I don't have the I
Yeah.
have a billion referrals. Chat, I have
Yeah.
200 referrals. That's it. I don't have
Um,
1,000.
as a very quick thing, that does remind me, I am really happy that the wipe has happened and that the
Yes.
patch is stable-ish because I get to do a 0 to hero again and not cry the entire time when everything breaks and I lose all my money. So
I am doing one as
yay.
well.
Oh
And
yeah?
I'm doing a unique one. And I'm not telling
What are you
anybody what
doing?
it is.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, have you heard of mine? I've done it once before, but it didn't work really well because the patch was
Let's see if
bugged.
we're doing the same thing.
So the very first thing I do, so I pretend that the ship that I have for my pledge doesn't exist,
Okay,
except for one
I'm
purpose,
not doing
which is
that.
to give myself a crime stat.
Okay.
And then I go to prison. I send all my money to just a random person. So
Yep.
I start with 0 money, and I start from prison with nothing. I can't rent ships. Renting ships is illegal because it
Yep.
makes it way too easy.
Yep.
And everything that I own has to be on my ship. So if I I can't store things in a location. And then it's hardcore. If I die, GG.
Start over or just done?
Yep. Just done. Hardcore's done. So there's like ways to do it, but it requires prison gameplay to work because you have to escape, get on the Ursa, and then you have to use the cutlass that you get for free, and that's like how it starts. But
That's badass,
yeah,
actually.
yeah,
I've considered starting that way, but the having prison to work has never been a great
exactly, yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But
It's been rough.
I will, for podcast listeners exclusively, I will tell you guys what mine is. I am starting out with a Drake cutter, I think, and
Yep.
I am going to be a salvager.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have a salvage ship.
So you got to start with the tool.
Yeah. So I'm not allowed to buy the anything in the shops, but the only thing that I can buy, like, you have to buy the tool in the shop. So I'm gonna have to buy a few of those things. And
you can loot the tool.
You cannot loot the tool. I've not seen it. Nobody's seen it in the loot.
Oh, like the salvage attachment?
No, the big
right.
tool, the dedicated tool.
Oh, the big one, right? Yeah, fair.
Because I did a test today. The big tool versus the small tool. It's a insane difference. Like the tool, you can actually finish salvage missions with the big salvage and repair tool.
Yeah. Which I have,
Cambio SRT.
Which is good. I'm happy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was considering doing that. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it or not. But also the starting in prison thing might be a fun idea to start with it. Is like, I don't have a career and this is all I can do. You know, a little RP with it. But that kind of leads into 323.1 PTU, where I will rant for 2 seconds.
Oh yeah, that's right. We were talking about this. Let's go.
Yeah, and then we'll get to callers, guys. I promise.
Yeah, yeah.
This drove me mad. I had we took an hour to set this up morph moment where
Mm-hmm.
I grabbed a Gladius because I know it is somebody's asking, is this guy a dev? None of us are devs in chat. No. We're just
But we are employees.
Yeah. I grabbed a Gladius because I know it's gold standard. And I saw this because I've had some feedback around repair based off of the engineering mode. And this doesn't work in the engineering mode either, just so you guys know.
Okay.
Ship parts, weapons, components when they get taken down to 0 health, they don't work in the current game. That's the intended design.
Yep.
They're now repairable from 0, and they will start working. So, and then also removing a fully damaged, not just component, but now weapon as well.
Mm-hmm.
With a tractor beam, you can repair it outside and then put it back. So I'm hyped about this because my thought process here is if you can repair from 0, that we are probably going to get diminishing returns on those repairs. And I wanted to see those diminishing returns. So I was like, yes, I'm going to take out my Gladius. I'm going to go to a salvage thing. I'm going to grab the big tool and I'm going to salvage and then I'm going to do it. And 0, literally 0 of this works.
Okay.
So
that should in the patch notes is doing a significant amount of heavy lifting.
It's doing a whole lot. So I will have another should. Somebody should look at things before they put them in the patch notes, because what is the I'm going in this. I can't wait to give the feedback. That's the whole point of testing, and you just wasted everyone's time. And I don't have dev tools. You literally have dev tools. Spawn in, done. And it's a 2-minute thing. And it's like, ooh, that one irked me, man, because I was so excited. It really comes down to I was excited to see the change because it could be really impactful and really interesting.
Yeah.
And really just like general gameplay stuff. Diminishing returns on repairs is a very common MMO trope, and nothing.
Just immediately didn't work. Yep.
Right?
Well, it's not live.
And it didn't work. That's feedback.
True. Yeah. Let's get those IC reports in, guys.
Yeah, but I'm not giving the feedback on to the actual mechanic. I'm giving the feedback to
feedback. Feature actually doesn't exist. It's not real.
It literally isn't. It was insane. Also, 1 pistol round destroys a component.
A component? One pistol round destroys a component.
Completely destroys it. So like I couldn't even knock it down a little bit. It was a mess. Crazy. So I was just furiously like, these are the things that it's just like, come on, guys. Like, come on. It's the only feature in the patch.
Yeah.
It's literally the only feature. Like, we're not talking about 323 and the shit, like there's a whole bunch of things. It is the only feature. So I got pissed. I got really pissed, and I think deservedly so. Because again, I was excited to go down into the bunkers and play, and I did this first. So I wasted an hour doing this when I could have had a lot more fun, and that bothered me. But yeah, that's all I have. So
and watch that be fixed in like a day or two.
I'm sure
it's probably like a turn on off or something.
Given that it doesn't exist. Watch it be included in the actual patch is not a hot take. I would not be surprised.
All right, yeah. We've been talking for about an hour. You're somehow always right, Mike. We always do somehow still have stuff to talk about. Yeah. So we'll get to callers. And if you in the future, because we probably got enough callers today, but if you want in the future want to get into the calls, discord.gg/SaltEMike. Join in on the green room and we'll talk all stuff. Also, in addition, because we didn't mention it before, if you're over on YouTube, there's a cool little member button down there if you want to help support the channel. Because we will be doing, I guess, probably in like 2 weeks, we'll be doing our members only call in, where you can only call in if you're a member.
And you choose whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, whatever you want to talk about. Star Citizen, preferably, but...
Yeah. I mean, you can ask personal questions, but we got Lightsmith, and now we can confirm that he can hear us. So...
How you doing?
What do you want to chat about today?
Hear you.
I think we should start out with at least, have you played 323? What are your feelings? What are your experiences? Or are you just
Oh
watching
yeah.
it through Summit's eyes and making every decision based off that, like the rest of my Twitch chat?
No, no, my concierge level is too high for me to sit this out. So I'm in. I've probably got 20 hours into 323 already.
Okay.
I'm having a lot of good fun.
Tell
It's
me about it.
it's as stable as I think we all could have hoped for. I've had a couple of bugs. I have a
think it's more
serious
stable
problem
than
with falling through the
322.
planet. Yeah,
I
it's
won't say it's more stable than
so stable.
322, but I may have just had a bad day, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Try
I
a US
fell through the
server.
planet 3 times in one day. So that sucks, but it wasn't rolling 30Ks. It wasn't
Yeah.
NPCs standing around on chairs all day. It wasn't AI not engaging me. In fact, the AI was overly engaging me, and I couldn't have been more happy with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and just because chat's losing their mind off of me saying it was more stable than 322, stable, not buggy, not missions
Yeah, yeah,
working,
yeah.
Right.
stable.
Right.
I'm only talking about we had a
Yeah,
lot of
like-
instability in the PTU, guys. That was a
Yeah,
big problem.
Server crashes almost non-existent. As in, no one, barely, like I know people are, but barely anyone's getting server errors.
Mhm.
And they did do the login queue thing on day one, but essentially no issues logging in today.
Yep.
All that sort of stuff has been good. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, and stability is, I think, the big thing. Like Croncy, you mentioned earlier as you guys were talking that they did take what we presumed they took an extra week from what everybody thought they were going to release, as they took a little extra
100%,
time. They
yeah.
got things stable.
Yep.
We have to expect bugs. It's the year. We're getting all new features, all new ships, all new locations. I think we all have to expect the bugs. But again, not rolling 30Ks. That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I did have a lot of fun doing a bunch of the missions. I love having to regrind through my rep. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
I
you-
think the best thing about the grinding through rep is because there are these new locations with quote unquote new missions, because they're not like new mission types.
There's things
but
to look forward to, right?
the issues. Yeah, there's things to look forward to by having to grind through rep again. So
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, going back through the climb is always fun, especially with the new UI. You can see it better. Like Salt, you were saying, you can get that feedback now when you have a failure, and it just doesn't hurt as bad anymore, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Because you never knew how
the
bad you were
Mirai
getting
Pulse.
damaged, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Mirai Pulse is amazing as well. I'm having a lot of fun with that.
Is it weird to turn for you as well?
It feels like it doesn't turn into where I want to turn it soon enough. Like I think Croncy, you mentioned, it doesn't feel like it has the traction.
Yeah.
It drifts.
Yeah. Have you tried out the gun, Lightsmith, on the regular pulse?
It's powerful.
It's quite hefty.
So that, first off, it is a size 2 gun on a Gravlev, which we haven't had before. Everything's always been size 1s. And 2, it's a new type of weapon. It's a laser Gatling.
Super fast.
Yeah, that's dope as hell.
Yeah.
It takes out turrets pretty good.
Sweet. That's what we wanted to do.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really fun driving thing. And they did also, I actually didn't catch this until late because I think I was just excited to get in, but they did release a Q&A on it as well, and specifically mention that if your hover height is set appropriately, you can be dropped out of a ship in atmosphere safely. So it must be light enough to not smash into the ground.
That is the same for all Gravlevs. The only time, the only time that won't happen is if you've got some forward momentum when you're doing it as well. Because I don't know, something happens weird with the graphics, where not the graphics, the engine, but that makes you crash. But yeah, if you do that with it's never guaranteed to work because this is Star Citizen. But if you do that with a Dragonfly right now, theoretically it should work if you're at max ride height.
Gotcha. All right, it's nice to know that you can be dropped in. It's so teeny tiny. I mean, you drop it out of an Argo, which is hilarious.
Can you change ride height while you're falling to the surface?
Yes, but it still only changes it between the top and the bottom. So if you continue strafing down, you won't. It'll just put you at your lowest ride height and you'll keep falling, if that makes sense.
Good. Yeah, it does. I'm just making sure that you can be lowest ride height when coming out of a ship, and then raise the ride height once you're out of it so you don't die.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. I don't think there's a UI indicator for that. That would be nice though.
There's
No,
not. Yeah, that
not
that
yet.
is one big problem with Gravlevs.
I hope they get rid of it.
That would be great to have.
I hope they get rid of ride height altogether.
I like ride height.
Oh,
Is that a hot take?
That's spoken like a true
maybe.
Cleo Islands cringe lord.
That's right. Yeah,
No, I like
I'm
the ride
just a
height,
cringe
but none
lord
of the
'cause
tracks.
I won. That's all.
Damn,
Here,
you
I'll
found
meet
it
you
out.
halfway, Mike. How about this? How about the ride height is based on the gravity of the planet? Higher gravity, lower ride height.
That'd be
I
kind of cool.
it really comes down to this. The vibe they give is Star Wars with Gravlevs, and
Mhm.
they just the bikes in the movies and the shows just stay at the same height, and everything's great,
Yeah.
right? And that's all, you know.
No,
Same with the
I,
Halo
That's the
Ghost.
only reason I can, just give
yeah.
me. Why do I have to think about that? It's silly.
I like the ride height, but there hasn't really been a track to like utilize it very nicely because it's either you're in tracks where you always want to be down as low as possible, or you're in tracks where you are constantly at
It's
top
rocks.
ride height, so you don't
Yeah.
crash and everything.
Right.
There's not enough like variation. So,
I'm excited for the Firebird.
what do you think it's
because
going to be?
They won't. I'm hoping, like what you said before, is that there's some modularity to it. It could be switched out because right now, when we have ships like that, we have the Hawk with the EMP, the Mantis, the Antares. I don't think any of those have the ability to switch out to another, which is, I guess,
They just stopped doing
it focused
modularity.
those ships.
They just stopped doing modularity because they didn't know if they didn't make it. So I think now if they confirm to have it, I think that you might see them do more of it potentially.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, does that ruin the integrity of some of the ships? Because the Hawk, you think is, it's the bounty hunter. It has an EMP to kind of disable a ship. That makes sense. So if we get a ship that has that component there, that modular thing that can be swapped, does that instantly make that ship the better of that category and kind of ruin the other ships because they're so bespoke compared to it? Or
because money, and that's what happens
yeah,
every
it
single
would.
time. Is your old
True.
ship will be obsolete, and that's just life with this game.
Yeah.
I think it sucks, but it's what they've done for years. Will but that's only for the min maxers, right? And then maybe the PvPers or things like that. They'll always go with whatever's best at the time. But players, in my experience, will go with what they think looks the coolest and enjoy it that way. So like, will the Hawk be the meta ship ever again? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they'll do the Hawk Mark II or something. I don't know. But I mean, at this point, everything is possible. But but I think players will still use those ships because they think they look cool or whatever, right?
Yeah, or they have like personal
that's-
attachments to it for some reason.
Exactly.
That's why I've always wanted a Raven, because it always looked so cool. And I'm not sure what the contract says between them and Intel. Intel just gave like 5 or 10 of them away for a contest or something like that. So I mean, if they we were just talking about sales and them getting money, I don't know, meet back with Intel, re-sign a deal, and maybe Invictus, you're selling the Raven and the Firebird. Why not?
It would be truly funny. Like, I've heard people say that the Firebird is going to be the AMD version of the Raven.
Yeah,
that would truly be hilarious. As shit as it would be for the game, like based on what we said before, I wouldn't fight it. It'd be so funny.
It'd be funny, that's for sure.
I'm for them just selling it. I'm not a big FOMO fan, so when they have like even the F8C thing, for me, I was happy that they put it up for sale with the Saber Raven. I would love it to just be for sale because it unlocks those walls between the player and having the cool spaceship. You just said we want it because it looks cool, and you basically locked the Saber Raven inside the year of 2018 or whenever that was. Like, what? Don't do that to the players. It looks cool. The biggest
thing though is after taking it, like, once again, we do want them to be able to sell it so it's not as exclusive, but then you also have to make it available in game somehow. Is like the next step. It's like, cool, you've made it a little less exclusive like, it's not as bad exclusive as it was. Now you need to continue doing that, which I don't think they'll ever do for the Raven. But if the Firebird is just reskinned Raven, presumably they'll do.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
But
we'll see.
one gripe about it is by the picture is it looks like they got rid of one of the coolest things about the Raven, and that's the negative space in the wings. So it looks like the Firebird. It looks like
I keep
filled it
hearing
in.
people say that. I don't know if that's true. It looks too close to the
Here's
background.
why they're saying it is it's not
Yeah.
the same color as the background. I'll bring it up right now.
Sure.
Yeah, it's slightly different colored than the background, and
It's the
you
same
know,
color as
hey,
the wings of the ship, and this
Yeah.
is the background.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess there's no like, because like in my head, I was like,
And
oh,
these
that's
little-
like an underglow under the ship, but that's not happening anywhere else, I guess. So
Yeah,
that's
these
fair.
little dot things
Oh,
as well
yeah,
are kind of
fair.
giving that away as well. I didn't notice it until you mentioned it,
Interesting.
though. I
Okay.
actually did not notice it. So the only
Yeah.
reason I was
to
like,
me,
oh
it's-
yeah, I was with you, Croncy. I was same feeling. I thought it was open.
negative spaces always look cool on sci-fi stuff in my
Yeah,
eyes. But the Aegis gets a whole day this year. So does Anvil. So if there's another straight to flyable ship, I imagine it's going to be an Anvil because it's also getting its own day. That kind of makes sense to me.
So they always get their own day at Invictus, Aegis and
Really?
Anvil. Because
'Cause
yeah,
they have
they're
so many
the
ships.
lore wise, they are the two primary military contractors.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
like that's why you don't see like Misk as often, because they're not going to go, all right, here are all the Hull series at the military trade show.
And then the money reason is they have so many
yeah.
ships, so they want you to be able
Exactly,
to rent them all, to be enticed to buy them, so on and so
Yeah.
forth.
You still might not be wrong though. I do think it does still lean towards
Correct,
we will
yeah.
usually see Aegis or Anvil though.
Yeah.
With
sense
the
for
exception
the
of
event.
also maybe Drake, because Drake just always have all their ships.
Yeah, because they have their own day as well.
Well, they always have their own day lore wise. So
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm curious. I know freelancers just came in with their components and stuff, I believe. I don't own a freelancer, so I haven't gotten to check it out. But I think over the past months with some updates and some monthly reports, they've also mentioned there's another series of ships that are getting their update in that regard, and I'm hoping it's the Drakes. The Cutlass series gets a little touching, but I'm not sure.
It was supposed to be going through a gold standard a while ago that never happened, so you might not be wrong.
yeah, I think it was supposed to be. In fact, I think they mentioned it before they pulled the tally from gold standard like 2 years ago. I think they were literally like, we're doing the tally. Next up is the Cutlasses. But then, they stopped doing it. So,
yeah,
Could
because new
make
ships
sense.
are fun. It makes them money, and I want that. But as far as the players go, it's always great when we get old ships get a pass. And if they do an entire series like the Cutlasses, you're gonna make 60% of the player base happy with that one move. So
The
and they already own
Cutlass
it.
Mark
so.
II, let's go.
Oh no, don't say it.
No, we're already on the Mark II, remember? This will be the Mark
The
III.
Cutlass Mark 12. Yeah, whatever it is. But
Oh boy.
Lightsmith, we're coming up on like almost 15 minutes, so I would say your final thoughts before we let you go.
Final thoughts is I hope we just get some hot fixes going through the week, and I hope everybody just gets into the free fly with the best running 323 that we can. Everybody has some fun. We all get to see the Polaris. I, like many other people, I'm going to try to break into it. So I'll see you there.
All right.
I feel like, I will say it, I feel like it's going to be similar to how the Idris used to be, where it's like it doesn't have an interior, but because of the way the game works, it has to have like a seat inside. So I'm sure we'll probably see people try to break into the seat or something.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It'll be fun.
Well,
Awesome.
All right, Lightsmith, thank you for your call, man. It was really good.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one.
Talk to you soon.
See you.
All right, so that was Lightsmith, and we're bringing in Khajiit.
Khajiit, do you have wares?
Oh, Khajiit has wares if you have coin.
Yes, I'm so cringe. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How's she going, boys?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Fantastic. What would you like to
Good.
talk about?
Well, I wanted to start out with the some of the stuff that we were talking about just within this patch, and the stability. Because my first experience with this game was spawning in 318, trying to get out of bed and falling through the world to my death.
Okay, yeah.
So
First experience
my
318 and you're still here?
I'm still here. So I'm a recent backer, but this like 323 and 322 as well felt like a miracle in terms of just actually working. Like there's bugs, but
What
still
did you do
functions.
between 318 and that experience and now?
Just like in terms of general
Why are you
gameplay, or
why are you here? I'm
Yeah.
so curious.
oh, okay. So my friends play,
Okay.
and so it's partly because my friends play, and we go and do stuff together. We do
Gotcha.
salvage, we do mining, we just whatever. We do whatever we feel like.
Yeah.
But like part of it is the dream because there's so much potential, but part of it is just like it does something that no other game I've ever played does. Right?
Yeah.
So
Which like that's the reason a lot of us back. It's just I guess surprising to us that you
Because 318.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
318.
What
It's like
potential do you
if there
see
was
after
ever a
318?
time
There
to
is
call
none.
this game a scam, like
Yeah.
if you had first joined during then. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just
yeah,
blown away
so
you're still here.
it's yeah, well, you know, it was I have a pretty decent tolerance for these kind of things, and I recognized going into it what I was signing up for, you know,
Fair.
because I had heard all the it's a scam beforehand. So I thought, well, we'll see. You know, I'll see for myself. I was also the sucker that bought into 76 thinking, well, it can't be that bad, but
Apparently it's like got a bit of resurgence. One of my favorite streamers has been streaming it every day.
Yeah,
I've
ever
been
since
playing it recently.
Yeah, ever since the show came out, everyone's been jamming it, and apparently it pops
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
I've been back on it recently, and it is surprising, the transformation. But
Oh, yeah.
so the stability stuff, I got a spicy take on the new EVA stuff.
Ooh.
I'm going to say I'm probably the only person who does not like it.
Oh, we did. We did have someone maybe like 3 months ago say that they did not like the new EVA.
Well,
so I'm curious if you have the same gripes.
It's not like a deal breaker. I think it could be fixed, right?
Okay.
And my only issue with it, I think for me personally, is the fact that it's decoupled. So I just don't like
It's
it.
sort of
that's just my own
too.
thing.
It's not real.
Yeah, it's
decoupled.
only when you're moving forwards.
Yes, which I
enough.
find to be very odd. I don't think that's intentional. There's no way.
Right, and so I think, like, I probably shouldn't complain without offering some solutions. So, like, the decoupled flight and the animations, those are my only two bugbears with it. And the decoupled, just give us the option to switch back and forth, right? Because it balances
like with
itself
ships.
by the fuel consumption. Yeah, exactly, with the ship.
Fair.
And the fuel consumption just auto-balances that, right? So just give us the option to go coupled, decoupled in EVA as well.
I'll tell you what, it was... I accidentally bumped the ship that I was salvaging in FPS today, and I just matched. No, it was great. I matched my speed in EVA, and I just salvaged it like it wasn't moving. It was incredible.
That would be cool,
actually.
right? Being it because then you can turn on the decoupled and float with the object, right? And then if you want to recouple and like not have to think about stopping, you could just turn that back on, and you know. The only other thing is the animations, because I play in third person pretty frequently when I'm able to. And the animations look awkward when you're stuck in this laying down position. So I feel like if you could somehow make the animations dynamic, like when you've stopped yourself, you just do that old idle floating animation before, and then when you move in a direction, you lean over and all that stuff.
Like the animations to go from EVA to not?
No. Like when you're in EVA, right? Like so, like make it look like you're swimming almost in space. So you'd have the Superman position when you're moving forward, or laying on your back when you're moving back. But then if you stop moving,
third person?
Well, just in in any animation, like if
like you could like even with that mic, like you could see someone else doing it. I guess would be the other thing, right?
Okay,
but
fair.
I will say, is that not just a change in your frame of reference? Like I don't feel I feel like that's completely fine because you're just looking from like, sideways instead of top down, and otherwise it's exactly the same.
Maybe it is. I think for me, the visual language makes it like the laying down forward and the Superman thing just makes it difficult for me to understand what the character's doing, like how they're moving.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I think for me, having that sort of idle treading water animation when you're not moving, or Superman position when you're moving forwards or backwards, that would make more sense to me just visually, right?
Yeah, okay. I think I see where you're going now, because whenever we did the engineering mode stuff, it is very difficult to know, like, is somebody aiming at me or what are they doing? Yeah. Okay, fair.
It's not really
what you're putting down now.
Yeah, and it's not even a deal breaker, to be honest. It's just a little. Yeah. It's just a little thing,
Peeve, yeah.
Sure. I will say, being able to like turn on a coupled mode would make interesting sense, like actually.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of surprised that doesn't exist.
Yeah, it just it was just a thought, because then I don't have to think about braking,
Yeah. How badass is this though? The
You
ship
know, this
is
is
moving
sick.
away.
The moving while doing it. Yeah.
When I finished,
Yeah,
I was
and
1,000
being able to-
meters away from my ship. This is not
and
that
being
far,
able to
but that's
float
pretty
with
far.
it like that.
yeah.
Yeah, that is really cool. Being able to float with it and still work.
Yeah.
So I like having decoupled as an option. I would like to have both options. That's all.
Yeah. And just to hijack a tiny bit, the difference between, oh my God, what happened? Oh no, the difference between where the okay, here it is, the big tool versus the little tool.
Mm. Oh.
Damn, Mike putting the work in.
That is.
It's like no.
Wow.
There we go. Now it's like actually
Yeah,
going. But look at
yeah.
how much slower
Good
it
gr-
is.
Yeah.
Did you commit to the bit? Did you finish that out
I
that
filled
way?
it. I filled it.
Oh,
No, I didn't do
no.
I didn't do the whole ship. I just filled a canister.
Yeah, just budget kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That. God damn.
Yeah,
okay.
it was
Yeah.
bad, dude. It was bad.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough.
But I like that though. I like that there's like all right, I have this thing that does a bunch of things, but it doesn't do any of them good, and then I have this thing that's dedicated and it's badass. So
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
What else? The only other this saber. What is? I've been seeing people
Firebird.
calling it the Firebird. I've been seeing people call it the Phoenix, the Saber Phoenix.
because
It is.
they're
It is definitely the Firebird. They literally used
okay.
emote fire, emote bird.
Okay.
and then also Jared literally tweeted out the logo of the car, the Firebird car
Yeah.
from the 80s.
Did he really? Oh,
Yes.
okay. Oh man.
Now, to be
Okay,
fair, a
Saber
Firebird is a phoenix, but yeah,
A Phoenix,
it's
yeah.
definitely
Saber
going to be called the
Phoenix.
Firebird.
But they
Saber
can't say
Firebird,
Phoenix.
whatever. Yeah. Oh no.
Well, because there's already a Phoenix in the game.
They've done that
Yes,
before.
that's right. Yeah.
There's
That's
the Valkyrie
true, yeah.
Liberator, and then there's the regular
Oh,
Liberator.
okay. Yeah. I am whatever it's called. I am.
Wait, there's two
drooling
Liberators?
over this thing.
There's two Liberators. The Valkyrie Liberator is like the fancy gold version of the Liberator of the Valkyrie.
So it has the
okay.
quotes
And then
around it,
they-
the Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Instead
The
of-
Valkyrie Liberator, and then you've got
Huh.
the Liberator. Yeah,
Wow.
Mm.
both
okay.
made by Anvil.
Wow.
Interesting.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway,
well,
sorry, continue.
whatever it's called, I am foaming at the mouth for this thing because it is the Raven is gorgeous, right?
Yeah, super cool looking ship.
And it's so good. I don't even care what the stats are, right? It could be a bloody Aurora MR in terms of stats, and I would still fly the thing because I just.
I found out why he's
The
still
cool
here,
factor.
guys. I found out why he's still here. There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. We figured
There
it out.
it is. Yeah, I'm the space car guy.
Yep, we figured it out.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he's a ship pervert. Thanks, chat.
Don't-
You gotta hurt. Are you gonna do me like that? Yeah, no. It's just yeah. Because I played Starfield right for like 130 hours, and I just the entire time all I could think is it's not Star Citizen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I know it's not meant to be, but like I was just so sad that it didn't do the same things.
That happens to me with other games all the time too. It's like,
Yep.
well, this would be cool in
Yep.
Star Citizen, right? It's a common thing.
Absolutely, right?
Mm.
So and but yeah, the other thing that came to mind, the ISC stuff you guys were talking about, the night vision.
Yeah.
That I'm kind of hoping we get some stuff a little more advanced than the 1980s Starlight scope night vision, you know? But it's just such an amazing option to have now and just know that it's possible.
My main question around it is, what is the negative going to be? The one cool thing that we're starting to see is there's a downside and a plus side to putting attachments on your weapon. What will be the downside versus a normal 4X?
I feel like because even
More glint,
modern
probably,
night vision, even modern night vision systems have difficulty dealing with bright spots.
Yeah.
So like any kind of lighting nearby could just blow out the vision, right?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Make it that it's like essentially only useful in like caves or like complete
caves.
wasteland sort of things. Yeah.
Flash a light in there,
or in dark
you know?
places.
Flash a light on them and they'll struggle.
That'd be a cool way to do it. Yeah.
And like if you get flashbanged, maybe like if somebody hits you with a flashbang, maybe it lasts longer.
Just knocks you out. Just straight up.
Gone. GG.
It doesn't work when you get EMP'd. I just mean like a general.
That would actually be cool. Yeah.
Which I think they said will
I was
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that because you could, if you have this night vision stuff, you could do other visual things like thermal vision and stuff that could
Hmm.
also play into this like EMP, like systems disruption. Because you could have, you know, like a scout helmet or something with lots of sensor space,
Hmm.
and you could put like thermals in there and other kinds of different sensors that could then get interrupted by things that would interrupt the scan, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You
It could
have like,
I was
sorry, go
just
ahead.
thinking it could all also combine. Like we still haven't seen the like the FPS ping stuff since
Yeah.
CitizenCon, and I imagine that that's maybe coming soon. That might be one of those
Hmm.
CitizenCon features that comes later this year.
12 months or
Um,
so. It better.
yeah, that
Yeah.
could also impact here, right? Like you could imagine, you can very easily imagine a night
Yeah.
vision raising your EM. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
And
then it's like, all right, cool. You can see me
yeah,
at night, but I can see you from my like from my ping from much further away, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
So
further
let's see
away,
who's better.
exactly. And
yeah,
that kind of thing giving you that sort of IFF capability, right? Like knowing who's who, just that kind of highlighting and thermals and night, all this stuff could play into the different helmet setups that they plan to have, right?
Yep.
For different roles. So you'd have like a lightweight scout helmet that's designed for gathering intel. Of course, you're going to have all kinds of crazy sensors in it, you know. Whereas like
yeah,
a heavy combat helmet might just be real durable.
yeah.
So yeah, I
Cool.
think yeah, I think that's all that really came to mind for me was just other than the EVA stuff, which is really just a minor thing that I have a gripe. Other than that, I haven't had a chance to play a lot with it. With
But
a
you're
lot of
right.
other
It's
stuff, I've just been
it's
doing some
not that
salvage.
it's not that minor when you really think about it. If you really think about it, and we're gonna be in combat in EVA, and we will
That's
become engineering for sure. You're not
yeah, and
wrong on that. I'm gonna
no,
definitely agree.
yeah, because well, like you'd have to. It's one more thing you have to think about when you're trying to deal with a fight, and there
Yeah,
should be as few of those things as possible, right? Like you really don't
100%.
want to be fighting your own suit when you're trying to fight the enemy.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
100%.
yeah. So, but yeah, that was all. Final thought. This Pulse,
Hmm.
I like it. It may have sold me on grav bikes because not gonna lie, I don't like those things.
Fair.
And I'm gonna agree with you on this, Mike. Just get rid of the ride height thing.
It's fine. Look, it's
It's
it's especially bad in PU. But
yeah,
if you do a bunch of races in Arena Commander, you might get a bit more keen on it. It's
yeah.
yeah.
I understand. It's good to have options, but I don't know if it
I just
really
want
is
to go
that
fast,
necessary.
man.
At least for me.
I just want to go. I
Yeah.
want to go the top speed the bike can go by pressing
Yeah.
W.
Well,
And I
I
love the simplicity of it once my ride height was at the minimum and I wasn't dealing with
yeah.
rocks making me float up in the air and all this other dumb shit.
Yep.
It
Mm.
was
Bounce around
I
and
think
explode
everybody
and
saw how obsessed I got with Gravlev racing, and it was because it was
yeah.
simple. It's because it was simple,
Yeah. Absolutely.
right?
Give me where CIG. Where is my Ranger? All right. I need because I like I want treads on the ground, right? I want wheels on dirt. That's what I want because it feels more snappy and responsive in terms of the turning. There's no like drift or anything, or there's a little bit, I guess, if you're on snow or dirt, but I don't want any drift in my turns, you know? I don't want to be slipping and sliding all over the place. So I want like
Where's my F1 car that when I turn right, it
yes,
turns right?
it turns right. Give me straight
Yeah.
90s, baby.
But I need to be able to deal, like I have to level up my character to be able to deal with those G's. Like my neck
Yeah,
as an F1, I die. My head falls off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
All right.
that's all I had, man. Just
Easy.
thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks for coming on,
Yeah,
man.
cheers for
Appreciate
coming
you.
on. Thank you very much.
It was a great call. And
Yeah,
again,
take care, folks.
don't get knocked. Don't feel like your opinion about the EVA or whatever is like not a big deal.
Yeah, no. It all made sense. It was all
Everybody, I mean, I was discussing it with a friend of mine, and she just was totally on the other side of the fence, totally disagrees with
Because
me.
you
fair
have
enough,
to
man.
have had experienced PvP in EVA to know how
In
much
space.
Yeah,
It's crazy. It gets so chaotic.
yeah.
No.
So it needs to be. The only thing you're working with
Yeah.
is bullet trails, and it's not good. So
Yeah, no,
All right, bro.
it's rough.
we'll let you go though.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Have a good
much.
one.
It was
All
great.
right. Yeah,
thank
take
you
it
very
easy, boys.
Bye now. All right. That was Khajiit. Our next one is the Rapture. Rapture, can you hear us?
Rapture, how you doing? You no, there we go. How you doing?
I'm fine. What about you?
Doing
Great.
all right. What would you like to talk about today?
Is my mic okay?
Actually, you have
Yeah.
the best mic I think I've ever heard on the podcast. I'm not kidding.
Okay, I have some notes with the things I want to talk about.
Prepared.
About 323, right now I'm on the server where all of the players had their heart rate rise up at the same time to 180 and higher.
Interesting.
Yeah. And someone in chat said that it's to force us to RP walk. Don't know, maybe. But
I
yeah.
don't
If
think
everyone's
yeah.
went at the same time, I don't think that's a intentional feature.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty funny. About anything else in 323, all of my ships from 322 made it to 323. That's cool.
Hey,
Nice. Oh yeah.
let's
Yeah.
swipe them now.
So yeah.
Now get him out of there.
Now
Now
that
that
you-
it's proved it works.
Yeah,
Get 'em
let's
out.
swipe them. Sorry.
No, please. Yeah, I have an iron, and its cannon feels kinda unintuitive, I think, because some players asked why it does no damage, like almost no damage, and it's just because there is no, I don't know, there is no big charge up. How do you say it? You don't see that it charges up.
Mm-hmm. You don't choose when
While
the
you
charge
shut
is
it up.
done, right? Don't you
Yeah,
just left click
yeah,
and it
that-
shoots when it's done?
That and the charging up is not that intuitive because you don't you can see it, but it's on the right side in the small box.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it needs to be like in the center where you're targeting. We
They are
did
trying to
we
figure that ship out, and I don't think they got a
Yeah.
full handle on it yet.
not just that, just railguns in general.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I will say I do
Cannons.
like the idea of a charge up, but I feel like they've
Mhm.
gone about it wrong. You need to be able to hold the charge, and also these ships need to be doing way more damage if this is how they're going to be hitting, because the ion just does no damage. It's like worse than having just like a regular live fighter still.
yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I don't hate the charge up, but like they should give it more dev time, I think.
Yeah.
So
And they will.
it's more
Yeah.
intuitive and yeah. About the console command that you talked about in the beginning, it's really cool that they gave it to us. It's really
Was it
cool,
as
but
hard to read for you as it was for me?
yeah, yes,
Okay.
yes. It was like it was out of order, and
Yes.
I had like a lot of other missions. So
Yeah.
and I didn't really need it because I have a reward. So yeah. It's not that useful to me, but I understand that other
Yeah,
people want to
For
know.
the people who don't have the reward, they're just be like, well, what mission
Yeah.
do I have to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't really know if there is an issue with overdrive missions because I did all of the missions like 3 times. So
Right. Yeah.
if it didn't work first time or second time, it worked third time. So yeah, I don't know.
He's saying get good,
And-
Croncy. That's what he just said.
It's only the last mission I didn't do because it was the delivery mission and I couldn't be bothered. All right. I was like, I'll wait till 323.
Well, and about the last mission, it worked for me all of the 3 times that I made it.
It
In
worked for me.
323 or
had zero bugs.
322?
Yeah, 322.
I only did it
Okay.
once. It worked for me every time, but
Yeah.
worked for me every time. It worked for me, I guess, because there was 3. Each one worked. Is
Yeah.
what I mean. But I saw there are just boxes stacked up at like people were blocking the door with the boxes as a meme because it just they couldn't turn them in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
you can
definitely is
literally
breaking for
see.
people. There's no denying.
And
it.
I haven't even encountered that issue yet. I can't even grab the boxes in the first place.
Yeah.
And about the Retaliator, I think that it still seems outdated.
In what way?
And in the way that it looks in the overlay of the insides.
I thought the MFDs were updated. So what do you mean overlay? Just the paint and stuff inside?
Not the paint, but
You mean the
visually,
layout?
Yep.
Like,
in the layout, yeah, like the rooms and how it's built. Um, I can't really.
Croncy's gonna fight you. This is like Croncy's favorite ship. He's
Well-
like dialing in to destroy you. I could see it.
getting my points in my head.
Yeah.
I like this ship, but yeah, like I said, something to me feels off. I can't really pin it, but
It still is an old
something
ship,
feels off.
right?
Yeah,
So I
like,
think
It is
still
it is like
suffers.
lore wise an old ship, and then yeah. But
I don't
the
even mean
biggest thing
lore-wise,
is
just generally
Sure.
like it was designed way
Sure.
back when, and they didn't do like a full
Yeah.
change.
Yeah,
you know?
but it feels old in the design. If you look at the Retaliator and you look at the I don't know, the Carrack, for example, you can literally see.
Carrack is the gold standard of like
Yeah,
interior. I think as far as ships, I don't think
Yeah.
there's been one that's really been better.
Yeah. The thing that I'm going to fight here is because I hear a lot of people talk about that they don't really like the layout of the Retaliator, whether it's the old version or whatever the new version is, which to be fair I haven't seen yet. I haven't been in the P2 yet. But a lot of it really comes down to the spacing of everything is just so different because every other large ship you have so much room to move, so much room to move.
mhm.
This is a submarine. The Retaliator is supposed to be a submarine. It's supposed to be hard to get past a person, and even then, it's literally just one. You can't get like 3 people side to side through there, and that's one of the things I love about it. I think they really, really own in on that that feeling of like I am in a very small enclosed space that is designed to be somewhat stealthy. The Retaliator is sort of supposed to be like that, and yeah, I think the locations of all the rooms are perfect. I think the maybe the turrets in the back are a little weird, but other than that, like it's one of those things where it's like I get why you don't like it, but I think that's
Yeah.
literally exactly what they were going for.
Yeah, maybe that it's this confined is what is what seems off to me. Maybe it is because like if you ask me, I can't really pin down what exactly seems off to me.
Sure.
Croncy, I'm just putting a video
So-
up because if it was a submarine, would
Yeah.
it? I wouldn't have accidentally.
Scammed again.
I wouldn't have accidentally died if it was a submarine. Come on.
But yeah, I feel like, especially like, what's the ship that it mostly gets compared to is like the Hammerhead. They're in a very similar space. They like it's just torpedoes instead of all size 4s, and even the Hammerhead is like there's so much room to move throughout the entire ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So, yeah.
Hammerhead feels okay to me. Like I
Mhm.
think if Retaliator had a little bit more space, maybe it would be more acceptable to me, I think. But
Sure.
what I wanted to say is I think it needs a full rework, but I don't think that they will do it in the near future.
No. Years from
No,
now,
and-
probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I disagree. I think my beautiful baby is right where it needs to be. But once again, I haven't seen what the interior looks like in the new build.
Well, they
Yeah.
reworked the 300 series, so I think
Mhm. That's fair. Yeah.
they might do it.
They might.
Well, the thing is, this is gold standard, so a rework would be like weird. You know what I mean?
It would be a whole new
Unless they
ship,
Mark
so-
II. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
They might.
A different
Yeah,
hull.
that feels more realistic to me that they will do Mark II.
Yeah. Hey, we want to do more torpedo ships. Well, let's take most of what we have already and make another one. And
Yeah.
it's much easier than coming up with a whole brand new design, completely different, and all that stuff. I think Mark IIs are going to become pretty common. Pretty common.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and about 323 again, all on the release of 323, I had almost no problems.
Mhm.
Just other new patch stuff like too much people at the consoles and maybe some.
MMO.
Yeah, it's a fantastic problem to have.
Yeah, that's an MMO problem. I like those problems.
Some server freezes.
Mhm.
But
How
other
quickly
than
did yours
that,
recover, or was it just a little freeze, like little hang up? Did you have the recovery symbol or no?
I had a recovery one time,
How
and
long did
it
it
was
take?
the first time that it worked because in on the PTU when they tested the recovery stuff, I was like maybe
Stuck
for
forever.
10 hours trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time I tried to test it, it always was stuck. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
and in 323, it was the first time it worked. I was in bunker on the elevator, and it started going sideways, and I jumped off of it,
Yeah.
and that was the moment when it crashed, and I think it recovered for I waited like 3 minutes or something. It recovered and it teleported me back on the surface. I think to the moment that server crashed actually. So it was like
Yep.
Good thing you weren't on the
It
elevator.
felt
It might not have been there.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah. It felt good, I think. What didn't feel good was that when I started flying away, when I flown away, bunker turrets almost killed me.
Yeah, because
Because,
you were now trespassing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an issue. I don't even know how
Yeah,
they
but
try
it's
to
a
fix
known
that,
issue.
but
Yeah.
yeah, as long as
they
I mean
fix
the
it by
fixes
your
don't have server
mission.
errors.
No. The fix is if you do have a server error, you still have the mission you were on, and
Yeah,
it's
that's
just they
fair.
have to
Yeah.
go through the missions and fix it. It's in the known issues list or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it's the same stuff that happens every time that I don't have some issues and people on the same server have some issues.
Yeah.
So you can never tell like it's a perfect patch or it's not a perfect patch. So
Yeah, you can only
I
speak from
think
your
it's
own experiences.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's all that I had to say.
Okay.
Thank you for having me. I hope you could understand me. So yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%.
It drives
Sorry,
me
I don't
mad.
understand you with your retaliator opinions, but I understand everything else.
I will say this as an American, and I don't know if you can as well as an Australian, if you deal with this as much, but as a native English speaker who in my country, we do not speak other languages like well at all. The fact that you are from another country, speak another language normally, like that's your language, and then are able to speak English, which is an incredibly difficult language, to where everybody understands you perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Don't ever feel self-conscious of that. Do you understand how envious like people like me are of you, and you should be so proud of yourself. You should feel the opposite. Never worry, you were perfect. And all we had to do, like if I didn't quite understand what you were getting at, I think one time like about the interior, we just asked a little thing and bang, that was it. You know, you're great. Never feel that way.
I'm flustered now.
Nah, never feel that way. It's amazing that I'm always amazed by the level that people can speak English, that it's not their native language. So, because I can't speak your language to any level, so don't worry about it.
And don't worry, I can't speak American either.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Rapture, we'll let you go, but look forward to your next call.
Thank you
very much.
Yeah.
Later, man.
Bye.
Have a good one, mate.
All right, our last caller is well named, Lasticot.
Lasticot, how you going?
Yeah. I can hear him clicking the stream off.
Howdy.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, you're really loud. I'm going to turn you down, though, okay? You don't worry about yourself. All right, go ahead.
All right, so I apologize in advance. I'm not American or a native English speaker. I'm French, so if my English is bad, just tell me. I'll repeat myself.
Oh my God.
This is going to be the start of every caller for the next 6
because
months.
it's like the time of day. None of you guys are from America, so it's fine. You sound. Did anybody like even? I thought you were American when you first started speaking.
Yeah,
So
true. You do have
Oh,
a bit
for
of an
real?
American accent in
Yeah.
your English, yeah.
yeah.
I appreciate it. So, I had a few questions, not necessarily related to 3.23 as we speak
Mhm.
right now on the BTU, but about base building, because I know that's a very sensitive subject. So, I had these questions. We heard about base building
Mhm.
advancing. When do you think we will see the first iteration, and what do you think it will look like?
Tier 0, end of year patch next year. That's where I reckon.
You know what my favorite thing
Next year.
is everybody said 323 because some stupid leak said that it was.
No, I think yeah. So it's very important to remember. Other than the like design document they made last year, the concepting for base building started early this year, right?
Yep.
And so that's going to take probably 6 months because it's going to be a very very big part of the game.
But
It's
the
going to
report,
include them. Yeah,
crafting, concepting, so they have to
yeah,
go hand in
exactly.
hand. You would assume,
Yeah,
right?
they talked about it.
Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise, why do you have a base other than just hey, look, it's a fancy house?
Yeah.
So you've got all of that. They talked about how they wanted to have like multiple different like appearances of base building and stuff like that. So that means art are going to have their hands on it for quite a while. So yeah, I think we're not going to see it this year for sure. There's no shot we see it this year, except for maybe at CitizenCon.
All right, chat. Get your requests in for the character Croncy's going to play in 4.0. How was it? Did
And
the character come out, by the way? Okay.
Yeah. I was using
Okay.
it today. It was
Awesome.
the worst.
All right, go ahead, Lastigon. I'm sorry.
no problem. So you say next year for base building?
I think so. Yeah, I think it'll be like like the major patch of next year, which is usually towards the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I had another question, which was with the slow and painful for some people implementation of master modes, do you think the engineering gameplay will get introduced little by little, or like master modes, or do you think CIG will wait for it to be really stable, not to break the most important side of Star Citizen, which is to say ships?
It'll be implemented into Arena Commander slowly, I think, right? Like we'll probably see
Depends.
this version of engineering stay for like a patch or two with additional ships, kind of like how we saw master modes. And then different to master modes, I think we'll then see, here is now the implementation of fire propagation on Arena Commander. Now here is oxygen or whatever on Arena Commander.
And they're
And then
already
Yeah.
starting. So the more recent patches to the engineering mode in Arena Commander now shows temperature, fire symbol, and I think the atmosphere symbol on the room panels. So they're already preparing for it. But go ahead, Croncy. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I think that was essentially it. Like, yeah,
Oh, I have a little more.
We'll see that until like I think they will not release it in a completed state, but we will see a bigger implementation than if they just put in resource network.
It depends
so
what
you
you
think
defined
fire
on
will be in?
released. Yeah, I do.
To live patch, like
Yeah.
to PU is what I'm saying. Yeah.
I think fire will be in
Okay.
before the initial release of it.
Yeah.
If that's what you're
I'm
asking.
saying. I agree.
If you're
Like,
if he's asking like what finished is or what breaking ships is, engineering fundamentally breaks the game from what you played before. In my opinion, it makes it better. In some people's, it may not.
Yeah.
But I played an engineering mode without a single explosion on my ship, and it was the better experience, in my opinion. No explosions.
Yeah, I saw your videos about it.
I love that. So it fundamentally changes the way everything works. Now, will it break for the solo C2 pilot that wants to fly around and be able to do whatever he wants in a giant ship? Yes. And what I say to that guy, wait till they have AI that can do stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't care what that guy's opinion is. Yeah, I don't really care what their opinion is in that case.
Yeah, I see. All right.
You know?
So, by the way, we talked about modularity and the new ships that are coming with new modules and new options for modularity. Do you
Mhm.
think every ship should be modular to some extent?
Yes, if they did it originally, but now it's too late to do it with some of them. So all future ships, yes.
But you
All
can't do
future
it all
shi-
future
all
ships because what
future
about old ships? Now your old ships that you bought are obsolete.
Good. Nah. No, you're right. Yeah, like I would prefer it if all ships were
They're in a
modular.
pickle,
But
which
I
is
guess it's more. I don't think it will happen with old ships. Um,
Because what I
yeah.
think will happen is we have the easy modular ships like the Caterpillar,
Hmm.
which we know we will be able to change the modules.
Yeah.
But for other ships like the Cutlasses, I don't think modularity will be that easy. I think modularity will come to every ship, but some ship will be way easier and made for it more than others. Like the Caterpillar is like my prime example of this. Is going to be huge with modularity, but some other ships will have minor modularity. I don't know if that's clear.
yeah, but even like a Cutlass, you could just change what's in that back room in the interior. So
True.
it's just whatever. Like the idea of here's what if you back the game forever ago, the idea
Mm.
of variance wasn't exactly a thing. Like
Mm,
the stalker, like they were a thing, but they weren't. Like the
Mm.
Avenger guys was modular. The Avenger was modular
Yeah.
back then. The Cutlass I think was intended to be like all of
Yeah.
the original pitch was that you were they in the end they were not expecting in 2024 to still be selling spaceships at that time, right? It was never part like when they told you we wouldn't sell spaceships, they were telling you the truth at the time. And then they
mm,
decided differently clearly, but and same with modularity. So I don't think the initial design of the game intended that. And what you have is unfortunately legacy decisions that are dealing with, oh, we're making the game now, or in some cases I think, oh, we're trying to sell
Yeah.
the things, and unfortunately they have to make things interesting to sell you them. Would the Galaxy, which I think I'm not
That's
screwing
the
them up.
correct one. Yes.
Would the
Yeah.
Galaxy have been as interesting if it wasn't modular?
Mm.
Maybe, maybe not. So I think that's kind of modularity is a problem, and they put themselves in a pickle for sure.
true.
I don't know what else to say to that. Like what I expect them to do, I don't have an expectation because I don't think there is not a win for them. They're
Mm.
gonna upset
Mm.
somebody. I just hope it's not me. I guess like that's pretty much how everyone has to feel.
Yeah, I
I hope
see.
they don't fuck up my ship, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's basically all you can hope, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'd say the same. Like some ships are like for me are the dream ships. Some other are like not as good for me in my heart, but some other people really like them. So
Yeah,
it's kind of difficult for CIG to please everyone
of course.
and make all the ships like they want to without frustrating anyone. Like it's really complicated.
Yeah. The biggest thing is as long as you're like this patch is like one of the biggest examples of CRG having to upset some players
Yeah,
in like any number of these different features. But as long as that's what's upsetting players, sweet. If
Mm,
if it's like ship sale stuff or
F8,
like yeah,
F7A,
F8 stuff like that shit sucks. But
yeah,
yeah, as
because
long as we
those
can
are
like make those
avoidable.
features. Yeah,
Those are
exactly.
avoidable. So, like,
Yeah.
it's questionable whether or not like master modes is avoidable, right? But it's a
Yeah.
decision they decided to go with, and the upsetting of certain people of the based on that decision
yeah.
of hey, we think this is better. That's
Hmm.
unavoidable. But to
Yeah.
make like horrible decisions that are like very obvious, going to upset the majority of the community, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
those are unavoidable. Those are avoidable, and they just don't for whatever reason. But yeah, so I don't know. It's hard to answer that question, but I think you just got to hope and pray. That's the Star Citizen
True.
the way, I guess.
But that's what we do. We pray with Star Citizen.
Yep. Pray they
Yep.
can get the feature complete and pray that it's not bad. You know,
Yeah.
because
So
once
I
they
have
start making it,
2 more questions.
Mhm.
Yeah, sorry.
no, I'm done. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I had 2 more questions. One is on the Invictus launch week side. So I have this ship like the Zeus MK2. I really
Mhm.
love it. Like it's insane
not
to me.
coming.
Like this concept chip is really good, but I'm expecting it to come with an iteration of 3.23, like maybe 0.1,
Maybe.
0.2, 0.3, but just the ES for a starter. But
No chance.
I'm just wondering, what do you think of the Zeus Mark II, and what do you expect the ship to fulfill as a role?
First off, Mike is wrong. It definitely will come in a 323.x because 4.0 is not coming out before IAE. So guaranteed.
That's a good bet.
Got
Okay.
him.
Okay, Elasticott, you have created the bet that is going to probably change my character. I will bet you that it does not come in a 323 patch. And we'll do the character
Alright.
creator thing. Okay.
Maybe I'll
Okay.
forget the bet. We'll do it closer. We'll do a different bet closer.
Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very confident over there.
It's
sir.
not confident at all. But no, I really like the Zeus. I think it's dope. I like us having more
It's
ships
awesome.
in that like size range and
'Cause
like
it's cutlass sized, right?
playstyle. Yeah, pretty much. It's
Yeah.
it's a cutlass, spirit, freelancer.
Yep.
It's very very similar roles there.
Any 2 to 3
So I'm very excited for that.
any 2 to 3 seater is I think the sweet spot.
Sweet
That-
spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at you saying you got sweet spot before I did, and
Yeah.
you're worried about your English. I can't even speak.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm really excited for it. I'm curious to see how it flies and all that sort of stuff. I love
Yeah.
my space Doritos. It's kind of an interesting shape to
I
see
think
in
it's
space. So,
beautiful. Yeah.
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 Because I've been looking forward to like buy one. I couldn't buy it at last I like a Citizen Con
Mhm.
because I didn't have the money, and like I couldn't spend that much money on Star Citizen, otherwise it would have been complicated. But I'm looking forward to see it this Invictus as a sale. Maybe not
will be a
straight to
sale.
flyable.
Will it? Is
But
it Is the Zeus military?
They'll sell it. They'll sell it.
They tend to
MR,
not.
the MR is military,
Okay,
and
then yes,
RSI
they'll
is
sell.
is one of the contractors of the UEE. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It'll be a hollow, and they'll sell it.
Yeah,
nice.
if
And
the
I just
MR is
hope
military,
the price
all three
will
will be
not go
available.
up.
Yeah,
It shouldn't.
Yeah, the
Pri-
MR.
prices
Yeah.
price increases have been for ships that have been either out or in concept for quite a while.
Yeah.
This has been
Mm.
what, 7 months, 8 months. So
Yeah.
it shouldn't increase
It's
in price.
fresh.
If it does, that would be unprecedented.
It tends to increase in price when they want to sell another ship for more money in the same class. So then they like
Mm.
Yeah.
or whatever
Alright.
they do with it. But what's
Yeah.
your last one? Because we're coming up right on that 2-hour mark.
So my last one is, what advice would you give to a 16-year-old French content creator who wants to make some Star Citizen videos?
Make videos. Don't
Yeah.
stream. Make videos.
Yeah.
Post. Outside of that, make sure you tag correctly. And correctly means
Mhm.
like use tags that make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Be yourself. Don't try to be something that you're not. I mean, like if you're a role player, it's different, right? Be your character or whatever,
Mm.
but be yourself.
Yeah, true.
There also is something to be said about like if you have the ability to be first, because it's very hard to
Yeah.
be unique in this space because we're all just playing the game and talking about the news. But if you can be
True.
first, that'll put you very far ahead.
It's funny. I kind of disagree about that because what's so great about YouTube is you don't
That's-
have to be.
That's because you
Necessarily.
were first, Mike, because you've been doing it for so long.
But I wasn't doing YouTube for so long. And one of the things here's why I'll say what I said is, and this can turn into an extra 2-hour podcast, so I'll try to be quick. Board Gamer was first. Super Mac Brothers was first. Noobifier was doing it before me, like regularly. And I told myself, why would I do something when they're already doing it? So I did
Yeah.
it my way.
Yeah.
So instead of feeling like you have to be first and then not doing it because you're not, do it your way. And then you'll be okay. You'll attract the people with that are attracted to your style or whatever, right? Like the people who like
Yeah.
those creators may not like me, but the people who like me may not like them, and then everybody finds their little cubbyhole that they enjoy. Like YouTube is very cozy. I lie down on my bed or my couch and I watch YouTube, right? So, and then get into
Yeah.
It's
streaming.
fair.
Streaming is a waste of fucking time if you want to become a content creator. Period.
Yeah, I regret doing that like first. You know what I mean? It's such an uphill. Like
Yeah.
streaming first is a massive, massive uphill.
Yep.
Whereas like YouTube's a little bit easier to get into on the ground floor.
Yeah, but I think Croncy's also not wrong, because I think when you've put out videos that have been topical and quickly,
Yeah.
those videos have been your like top performing ones, correct?
Yeah, it's the two things. You have to be topical or evergreen a lot of the time.
That's what I did. Like I made a video about how to start in 3.23 on my channel, and it was just before it went to live, like one day before, and it made the most views and the same time as all of the other videos on my channel. So I was really happy about that, and that made me learn that if I do like the things first, it will be easier in some way, more comfortable.
But you're not just doing something first, you're doing something that, like when I mentioned tags, that people are searching for.
Yeah.
True.
Right?
It's
Like-
it's smart topic. Like
yeah. Like I had a conversation on my Discord this morning. They're like, why didn't you post a guide? And I was like, eh. But it's something that I really want to do, is start posting more guides, and that's evergreen content. That's what kind of Croncy's talking about.
Yeah.
But it is a matter of like, oh, but Burks just put out a guide. So again, you can't tell yourself, like those are the mental things that I go through, is like, well, Burks just did one, it's really good. Why wouldn't I just tell everybody to go there? Or I can make one myself too, and most people will watch both. It's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was literally gonna say, like, I'm doing that to myself this weekend of like, oh, but everyone's already put out their 323 video and stuff.
Yeah, why
just
would
don't
I make mine?
don't do that. Just do it. Just do
That's
the
why I
videos.
said post videos.
Yeah.
Just post videos and you'll be fine. But I will say,
give away lots of really expensive ships.
Don't do that. Yeah, that's really stupid.
I don't have the money to do that anyway.
That's stupid. and yeah, just be yourself, man. But I will leave it there, because if we do that, this is a situation of like, nobody came here for nobody came here for that content to like, right? So like, know who your audience is, and know what you're trying to do in that video, and do it for them, right?
Yep.
All right.
But yeah, last cop. Be
Thank
great,
you
man.
very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And last thing, if you need me for any content, or if you need anyone for like lives and anything, I'm here. You can contact me. I'll be available if I can.
All right. Be
Thank
good,
you very
man.
much.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
And good luck.
Have a good day. Thanks.
Bye. I wonder if he'll let me react to his videos when they. I'm just kidding, because I ask everybody. But yeah, I think before we go, for one, he gets 30 seconds, because he only popped in when we said the English thing, and he has the most hilarious and fun accent of all time, Pakilla.
Okay. Pakilla, you got 30 seconds. Go.
Yeah,
I
you
got
have
a
30
30 second. Okay, Mike, if this game is so good, what the fuck do I do in 323? What the fuck do I do? I walk on the door. I don't know what to do. They haven't done in for the past 8 years. Motherfucker, why is this game?
I knew it would be good. It's a great way to end. I think don't forget to follow, guys. Me and Croncy on Twitch. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, and you can become a member and all those things. But yeah, I think that's a good way to end the show, and a good spot to end the show. Pakilla is one of my favorite people of all time. So if you guys get any sort of defensive towards him or anything like that, just don't. You're being stupid. Okay, we're friends. We've been friends forever, and yes, don't be that way. Now, this is where we're gonna end it, guys. So like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And as always, don't forget to answer the call.
Answer the call.